Hello and welcome to Home Media Minefield presents Let's See What's Out There Loki, a weekly video stream and podcast currently focused on Marvel's Loki series, which is available to watch on Disney+. In today's episode, we are going to have a spoiler-filled conversation around episode 3, Lamentis, and our conversations will probably also include spoilers for other parts of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. If it's your first time here, welcome. If you enjoy this sort of thing, consider giving us a like and please check out some of the other work on this channel. And if that looks like your bag, please consider subscribing as well. I'm Keith Isles. I'm an independent filmmaker and lifelong enthusiast of cinema and television. And joining me for today's episode, I have a team of Avengers from both sides of the pond. So first up, joining us in a room somewhere planning world domination, we have filmmaker and comic book fan, Clive Ashenden. Hey, Clive.
Hello, Keith. I am full.
Fair enough. And I am liking the location there, Clive. It keeps us guessing where exactly you are, which is,
right.
Of course, is
somewhere in this planet. Yes,
absolutely. Also, another filmmaker joining us, the director of the Rebecca Gold web series, the Mega Geek himself, Ian David Diaz.
Hello.
All right, Ian.
I'm all right. How
you doing?
I'm okay. I'm doing all right. This reminds me of a TV show. These three.
It's like the Dallas.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, it is definitely.
And talking of Dallas opening credits, that means we need to get
Sue Ellen.
You see, I was trying to think of a character. Well done. We need to get someone else on. So, host of Premiere Scene, go and check out their work online. We have Claire Bueno. Welcome, Claire.
Sue Ellen.
Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, Keith. Not that you're not a gentleman, Keith, or a gentleman.
Well, you know, it has been argued. But we won't go there.
What's that say about me and Clive?
That's a whole other vodcast, isn't it?
That is a whole other vodcast, indeed. But, you know, no team would be complete without representation from the other side of the pond, as it were. So welcome, my co-host on the Let's See What's Out There podcast, Pete Mealy.
Hey, did we go from Dallas to Brady Bunch? And does that mean,
yeah, we did.
Oh.
Does that mean that I'm Alice?
Well, yeah, you do look a bit like her, actually.
Yeah.
Wow. And it's almost as if we're here to talk about WandaVision, talking about all these different classic TV show opening credits and stuff, you know. Wrong podcast, right?
Yeah.
So we are halfway through. Before we get into our discussions of this particular episode, Pete, do you want to give us a quick recap?
Yeah, I might have written too much this week, but let's see how this goes. Not Loki kicks butt at the Time Cop headquarters, but before she can get to the Time Lords, the judge corners her. Not Loki takes Loki hostage, but then Loki opens up a time door underneath them, and they jump to another apocalypse. MacGuffin, filler, dance battle dance, and at the end of the episode, they're still stuck in the apocalypse. The only real bit of interesting news here is that all of the Time Cops are variants. Credits.
I like it, yes. All right, I think we might be kind of coming from the same place this week. I've got a feeling after that one. But yes, so episode 3, Lamentis. Oh, hold on. Sorry, I'm pressing wrong buttons here already. Yeah, episode 3. Sorry, let's get my screen back. Oh dear, Keith. Anyone would think we were live. Sorry about this. There we go. I think I've
multitask
got it.
thing, is it?
I think I've got it now.
It's just a little bit of mischief.
Yeah. I feel like some god of mischief is messing with me here today, which is rather irritating. So here we go. Yes, I've got there. So so this week's episode is credited as being written by Bersha K. Ali. Bersha's credits include a writer on sex education, a writer for the 4 Weddings and a Funeral TV series, which I wasn't even aware of. So there you go. Interesting. Writer on Loki, and is going to be showrunner and head writer on the Ms. Marvel show that's coming up. And another person I wanted to credit from the crew, because I think some great work is coming out in terms of the music here, is Natalie Holt, who did the music has done the music for all of this show. Some of Natalie's other credits include 3 Girls, the TV miniseries, Redwater, Press, Night 4, Beecham House, Deadwater Fell, and now Loki, although she's got many, many more credits. But I thought it would only be right to credit the music for this show, because I must admit that is one thing that I do think is quite consistent. I wish I could say the same. I don't know how you guys are feeling, but I'll kick things off by saying, and I've got reasons I can dig into, but I didn't enjoy this episode so much. I've got to be honest. I really felt the absence of Owen Wilson's Mobius in this episode a lot. But before I go into all my reasons, I want to hear from you guys. What did you think? Claire, let's start with you.
Well, I think I'm going to be in the minority here. I actually really enjoyed last night.
Okay.
I was so much so I actually watched it again straight after.
Okay.
I think I was really kind of intoxicated by the production design, and just I quite liked that that was kind of like they were in kind of one solid place, and they kind of went on this adventure, and we saw a bit more of the kind of getting to know like the female Loki a little bit more. So now we're seeing a little bit more action, which I'm not really that bothered about, but I know other audiences will like. We've had the kind of, couple of episodes where it's been setting up this what's happening in that kind of universe, I suppose. And it's been kind of dialogue heavy, where this one was, a bit more sort of action filled, and then sort of giving a bit more, of what the audience might want, really. I really enjoyed it.
Cool. No, and I can't disagree with the the production design, as we mentioned last week, is again top notch on this show, and it does look good. And I kind of felt a little bit of a sort of mixture of Blade Runner and Total Recall vibe with the look that they had on Lamentis there. Yeah. What about you, Clive? Any thoughts? How you feel about this episode?
Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, it was pretty inconsequential, wasn't it? Like nothing really of note happened, except we got to spend a lot of time with Sylvie, who we learn is probably definitely a Loki variant, and that's all she is. Although a fun and interesting one to spend time with. And as Pete said in his synopsis there, that all of the TVA are variants, which is like dun dun dun. But the rest of it, the rest of it was fluff, wasn't it? It was total fluff. But at the same time, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed. I thought it was a lot of fun. I had a good time with it. I mean, I'm wearing my Doctor Who T-shirt here, and I got really strong Doctor Who vibes from it this week.
Right.
I mean, very, it felt I mean, and the modern iteration, that the sort of, particularly this sort of Stephen Moffat era, it was almost like watching like a Doctor Who and River Song episode where they were teamed up. They were, there was lots of flirty banter. There was lots of like, this is a show that's not afraid to be silly, and and I don't mind that. I found that fun. I can see how it's probably going to wind some people up though. But I also, one of the other thoughts I had was that Loki seemed to be a bit more Loki in this one, in terms of like he was actually using his magic in when he was in combat. He was sort of changing his appearance. It wasn't like the moment there was like a fight, he suddenly forgot all of his powers. So they seem to integrate that much more. So I don't know whether that's due to the writer on this one actually sort of realizing his full capabilities. I thought Tom Hiddleston, he really was able to sort of like play lots of different notes this week, if you see what I mean, performance wise. And I enjoyed that. So so it's a thumbs up from me, even if it didn't really mean anything, if you see what I mean.
Well, no, it's quite interesting you said that, because and that was going to be one of my questions to you and Ian actually was, as you know, I don't really do Doctor Who, particularly new Who. I'm a fan of the classic Doctor Who stuff, but the new stuff I could never get into, and I've tried. And what little I've seen, I did sort of think to myself, this episode felt like what little I know of new Doctor Who. And I was going to ask you guys that question. So I find it quite interesting that you said that, and also interesting that I didn't enjoy this episode as much. So maybe it's good. So Ian, on that note, what are your general thoughts on this, but also more specifically, as a Doctor Who fan yourself, did you sort of feel that this was a kind of Doctor Who-esque type aesthetic and adventure, tonal?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all. It has the same obviously the Doctor Who has Time Lords and they have the lizards wherever they are, but I don't think it's like Doctor Who at all, to tell you the truth. I mean, but anyway, this episode, absolute bollocks. This episode, it really was. Just thought it was a waste of my time. I spent this time I should have been doing something else rather than watching this episode. It was absolute crap as far as I was concerned. This threatening woman is no threat at all. Loki was not Loki. The sets look good though, and love the photography. Apparently the two guards that stopped Loki going into the train were called Hudson and Hicks. Yes. Excellent.
Yeah, there you go. But they never. You can find that out by looking up on IMDb. It's got them credited as Hudson and Hicks, which is obviously a great reference to Aliens. But they I don't think they ever called them by name in the episode.
They didn't. No, they didn't. I think it's just
kind of like, what was the point?
It's just a gag. And also, there's a rumor that Loki Varan is Enchantress. Apparently, they were saying in some videos and stuff. They were saying that she was Enchantress.
I do have a slide about that, which we'll come on to. But okay, so you weren't a fan either, then, Ian?
I just thought this episode. I mean, he's singing and. They chuck him out the window, and when he tries to change into that guy, everything that he tries to do, obviously you're not allowed to hit women in TV shows now. And why did they even bother fighting if he's not allowed to do that? He tries to trick her, and obviously it goes flat on his face. He tries to trick that other woman, it falls flat on his face. I'm just tired of Loki getting beaten up and not being Loki, and this episode was dull. I'm really getting tired of this show completely. But that's just my opinion.
No, it's good to have varied opinions. Before we dig more into it, though, Pete, I'm kind of interested in your opinion on this, and just to sort of preface that, when we did our show. A shameless plug here, by the way, for our podcast. We did a podcast covering season 1 of Picard, Star Trek Picard, and I remember, Pete, that you did not enjoy the episode where Picard dressed up with an eye patch and they went off to some planet and all of this sort of thing. And I kind of got a similar vibe from this, and I wonder whether that was something that you picked up on or where you are with it. So yeah,
I did not make that direct connection to the Picard episode. I think what annoyed me about this episode specifically was that maybe the way to say it is like if you watch too many of the Marvel movies back to back, you sort of are like, these are formulaic and like, what's the point? Like, I've had enough of this. And I feel like coming off of Falcon and Winter Soldier, where there were episodes that didn't really mean anything and didn't really do anything, it was frustrating. And so here I felt like we got another episode that they didn't really do anything. It didn't really mean anything. And we just had to sit through it. And when you only have 6 episodes in your series, you're really doing yourself a disservice. All I could think was that the big things that we got out of this were sort of some of the magic fights between the Lokis. And I think that you 100% could have done that in the last episode, in the or 2 episodes ago, whatever it was, in the Superstore Apocalypse, right?
That was last episode.
It was last episode, right?
Last week, wasn't it?
That would have, like, if they had that fight instead of the Loki on Loki fight that we got, that was weird. Like, why didn't you do that then? Also, why didn't you have, like, it would have been so awesome, I think, if when some of those guards walk in, we notice that some of the people hanging out in the store are the guards, right? And then you could have shown us that all of the guards were variants instead of just telling us, right? You could have shown us, and then you didn't need this episode. We could have gotten into it. Yes. Instead, I feel like, what do we get here? We got, Tom Hiddleston getting to show off his amazing head of hair.
Good head of hair.
It's a great head of hair. And we got a couple of like giggle laughs, right? Where, he gets shot with the thing. Like, there was chemistry between the Lokis, and I was like, oh, okay, I don't really care about this relationship though. And we got a beautiful shots, the thing with the moon exploding, the sort of the purple hue on all the rocks,
it's fantastic.
100% Blade Runner inspired future that this world was in. I was like, oh, this is awesome, right? It's fun to watch, but it was frustrating when parts of this show hint at like deep philosophical conversations, and then they spend 50 minutes doing nothing. Yeah. And I was like, the best parts of this show were that, like, the 5 seconds that they spent in the time cop's mind, right, where she was in that bar
in the beginning,
and like, I'm frustrated because, dang it, we could have squeezed that into the last episode. You could have made the last episode really kick ass, and instead we sort of get 2 mediocre episodes, and I feel like they're wasting time.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. I thought that where this one ended up was a bit odd when you think about how they ended last week's episode, because essentially that was on a bit of a cliffhanger with all these different time strands coming and edging towards the red line of creating multiverses and all of that sort of thing. But I guess they did it to obviously focus on the 2 characters and the relationships, and I'm guessing that's what you enjoyed about it, Claire, right? Was the fact that it was a little bit more of a character-focused story, delving into their backstories and more of their sort of inner feelings and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I like all that, because then it kind of just helps us invest in the characters a bit more. I mean, obviously we've followed Loki over the last sort of 10 years, haven't we? But this is the opportunity to see kind of different facets of his personality and see that he is a three-dimensional character, really. Yeah, I was interested to see, you know, is the actress English? Is she English? Or
she is.
was she?
She's in EastEnders, apparently.
Okay.
Yeah, she
Okay.
Yeah, no, she is English. I'm just trying to, sorry, on the fly here, just trying to check out some of her. She was in that film yesterday.
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
Oh, right.
She played the agent, did she not?
That's right. Yes, and she was in. She's been in things like Silent Witness and Flowers and Election Spy. She's actually got quite a lot of credits on IMDb, but I must admit I wasn't particularly aware of her before this. She's been in Casualty, but hasn't everyone?
No, every actor's been in Casualty.
I mean the TV show, not that she was badly injured or anything, hopefully, but you know, Heartbeat, Doctor, you know, all sorts of stuff. So yeah. So we're kind of 50-50 here then. So like myself and Ian really didn't enjoy it. Claire and Clive
we're not 50-50.
And well, no, and Pete's sort of on the fence. Is that right?
Oh, I wouldn't say I'm on the fence.
Oh, okay. So
I watched this episode twice just to make sure, and I'm mad.
Christ. I wouldn't watch it twice. Jesus,
I'm mad. I want them to do more.
Right, I'll be honest. I only saw it the once. I couldn't actually bring myself to watch it again. But okay, well, let me ask a question then, because obviously, I'm very open to these things, and I want to hear. You know, just because I didn't particularly enjoy it this time, I want to, you know, hear the good stuff. But one of the things I felt, one of my little issues with this, and again, I may have missed something here. I only watched it the once, but we were talking about how some of Loki's powers, and they've obviously kind of caveated this whole thing in the series by saying depending on which timeline and whatever we're in, the powers can be different, right? But I felt like some of his powers in this episode were plot convenience powers rather than something we've seen him demonstrate before. For example, right towards the end, when the building looks like it's going to crash on them, and he's able to sort of freeze it and make it flop back up. Now, is that because he stole that time crystal in an earlier episode, or is this a power he's used before and I've not picked up on? I don't know. I kind of rolled my eyes a bit because it felt a little bit plot contrived to me. But
all I could think was that was an illusion, and actually it did crash on them.
Isn't there a rumor that that's the planet that the Guardians of the Galaxy was on? Because it has all the same signs. What's the planet that Guardians of the Galaxy was on and they saved at the end? What was that planet called? Does anyone remember? Nova, yeah. Prime? They're saying that this is Nova in the future because it has all the signs of the Nova thing. If you look at Guardians of the Galaxy, when the girl's holding the gun has the sign of that was shown in Guardians of the Galaxy. The first Guardians of the Galaxy was all around the place. So they were saying, I was looking at one video today, they were saying that it could possibly be Nova in the future dying. Right. So I don't know. So but there you go. You know, these little things that you learn from other videos on YouTube. It's always useful.
No, I mean, it's good. There's lots of content out there and theories videos, and one of them, if I just sort of bring up the screen again, is that there's the one that we find out in this that her name is Sylvie, and they use the term in a number of places about enchanting and being an enchantress, not to be confused with the DC character of the same name, but apparently there was a again, I'm no expert on the comics, but my understanding was there was a comic line that featured this character, and it was a normal mortal character that Loki gave powers to as a trick. Is that right? Clive, do you know any more about that? Maybe, or Pete, do you guys know anything about this character in the?
I don't know the Enchantress, Clive.
Right.
I don't know much more than that. I
Right.
must say. I mean, I feel like I heard this theory like after last week's show, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. But I think it's Marvel's doing their thing of sort of cherry picking things from the comics. So I think it's a nod to that character. But the way that they were talking together, her and Loki, it seemed pretty clear that she was some variant of Loki, and she just prefers to be known as Sylvie.
I don't know.
You think?
I got the distinct impression that she is not Loki.
Okay.
Watching it this time. But yeah.
What makes you think that, Pete?
I guess the way they handled it. Also rewatching maybe the previous episode where he was like, I guess you're me. And she was like, I am not Loki, right? Or, she was like, don't call me Loki. She's never admitted to being Loki. She is, I think, the character has never said anything about Asgard or Thor or Odin, referenced a mother that she didn't know. So I get that it could be a wildly different timeline, but maybe it's just me being cynical, but I think that the way they're sort of trying to build romantic chemistry between the two or the sexual tension, I don't think it's going to be the same person from different timelines.
Yep. No, I mean, it's certainly, I think the whole thing is certainly asking more questions than it's answering right now. Apart from the TVA being, variants and whatever, but yeah. I don't know. Claire, did you feel there was chemistry between these two characters?
Not like that. I didn't see it.
Oh.
I wasn't necessarily looking for it though.
Maybe I'm revealing too much about myself.
Maybe.
I didn't pick up on that, but maybe I just wasn't. I just thought that they were basically, they were stuck in this, in the bar. So they were kind of making the best of talking to each other, and he was doing more talking than she was at that point.
Then he got drunk.
And then he got drunk. Yeah.
And he smashed the glass in the same way that Thor did in the first film.
I liked that.
Another,
that he did in Thor, with the mug of coffee. I thought that was quite funny. I hadn't picked up sexual chemistry. Has anybody else?
I don't know. I think I was asleep around about that time. So
there was a lot of flirting going on.
Okay, good. It wasn't just me.
Yeah.
I just didn't even see that, but then I could be oblivious to it.
She's so wrong
easily
for that role. She doesn't look threatening at all. She looks like my next door neighbor that lives a couple of roads away from me. It's so badly cast. That this person that was all in shadow in the first episode was killing loads of people. This doesn't look like that person that did that. The casting is so bad in this. The show was so dull. At the ending, he showed a bit of power, but there's a rumor that he stole one of the crystals from the gauntlet. Time stones, and that's how he stopped the thing. In other words, he doesn't have his full power. It's just, I don't know. I don't think I can watch any more of this, tell you the truth. I'm just so disappointed that Marvel took this angle with a really popular character and made him soft and weak, and I don't agree with everything that they've done in this. And you got the director that she went on Twitter saying, I'm so proud that I got that line in, that Loki is fluid, because there's that line in it where they were talking on a table and she was going, have you got a girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever? And I'm like, that's not what this show is about. It's not supposed to be about sexuality at all. Why are they saying this? Why is that director coming out and saying that on Twitter? Why do we have 2 female writers writing this? What, is there no men left to write scripts in it? Is there no men left to direct something like this? These are the things that bother me about this show. And quite frankly, I don't think I can watch any more of this, because it's not the fact that it's women that are running this thing. I'm all for that, as you guys know. I just don't like this show. This show is not Loki. It is not Loki. And they're shoving their politics in, subtle, but you know, some people disagree, but I can see it, but it doesn't matter what I think, obviously. I just can't watch this show anymore. I just think this show sucks, basically. It really does. This show is even worse than The Winter Soldier, and I saw all of them. There was it, Falcon and Winter Soldier. And I hated that. I thought it was just absolute nonsense, spreading out episodes where there was nothing to say. This one's a prime example, spreading out this episode where there's absolutely nothing to say. Sorry, I will stop.
No.
That's the whole point of it. What I thought was a bit odd was kind of like the end, and it just kind of like, it was all so sudden. It was like, well, was that the end of that episode then?
Yeah.
It wasn't even a cliffhanger, was it?
Well, this one was a slightly shorter one for sure, and of course it does leave the big question: how are they going to get out of this pickle now? But
is that really a question?
If he has stolen a time stone, then that'll be the way, right?
But why is it a question? Like, they're not going to kill off the 2 main characters.
No, exactly.
The 2 characters who are called Loki are not dying in episode 4 of a 6-run episode of the TV show Loki. So, like, I don't see the point of having a cliffhanger ending of them stuck on the planet, because, like, we're not going to, like, there should be no tension here, right? I don't think anyone is tense that Loki might die here. Right, because we already know there's 2 more episodes coming out, and if they want to kill him at the end of the season, like, I'm all for killing off main characters. I think that's a bold move, but if it means that we have to watch 2 more episodes of them not doing anything just because by episode 3 they got to the point that they were going to kill him, I'm very upset with the show from a technical aspect. So again, like, yeah. Sorry, I was frustrated about that.
No, I feel for you, Pete. I really do, because I'm right there with you, mate. I'm frustrated with this episode. I'm frustrated with the show, to tell you the truth. I'm frustrated with all of them so far. They're not what, as I said, I'm only speaking for myself. They're not what I want to see from a Marvel characters, because I know the history of Marvel, and I know, as I said, it's the tide. It's changing in Hollywood, and they're going in a direction of making stuff that I don't really like. So it's obvious that they're going to give us more of this, and I'm not going to like it. So, you know, I think I'll spend my time watching old episodes of Doctor Who or something, you know, rather than watch some Marvel stuff, because if this is the road they're going to go down, I'm not interested. I'm sorry, but I'm just not, you know.
So you feel that they're not making this show for you, Ian? Yeah. No,
and thousands and millions of other people as well. But, you know, it's their IP, and, you know, they have the rights. They can do whatever they want. I don't begrudge them. I just find this show not for me. That's all. You know, it's the way it goes, I guess.
Okay, fair enough. From another perspective, Clive.
Sorry, you know, you're going to say something.
Obviously, sorry, was Claire going to jump in?
No, nothing in really significant. I just wondered whether if there's a feeling that there's sort of the ticking of boxes, really, sort of going on. That
there is a lot.
There is, you know, there's a lot of, again, these strong female heavy, you know,
I don't mind that
characters.
I don't mind. I don't.
There needs to be a balance, doesn't there? Whereas
there needs to be a balance. Yeah,
I disagree.
Well,
okay, Pete, name me one strong male character in this show so far. Name me one.
Sorry, but I think that both Mobius and Loki have been strong at different
No,
points,
they have not.
They've
been told off by women, right? They've been told off by women multiple times. Loki is a sap in his own TV show. What are you talking about? Can you not see that? Or are you just ignoring it?
No, I think that getting, in your words, getting told off by a woman does not mean that a man is not strong. I think that there are conversations that can happen between people of different genders, and that just because a male character gets put in their place or talked down to by a woman does not mean that that character is weak.
And you don't see this wave going away through Hollywood. You don't see it in Star Wars, the last 3 Star Wars films. You don't see it in Star Trek Discovery. You don't see it in what is it, the Marvel shows. You don't see it at all. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not prepared to go all the way through.
Well, I press my case then.
No, I don't think that's fair either.
How is it not fair?
Because what I'm saying is that I can't speak to everything that you have laid out. I think that, we're talking about Loki right now.
Yeah.
And so in that, I think
when has Mobius been right then? That's an easy question.
Mobius
when has he been right in anything?
When has he been wrong?
When has he been right?
No, but we can just throw hypotheticals at each other all day, and that's not going to change anything, right? But he has been right about bringing Loki in.
No, he's been wrong because Loki's gone off with the variant, right? Or is he a variant?
But to be fair, we don't know the plan behind that, do we? At the moment,
we don't know the plan behind that, and he has not just teamed up with her and helped her destroy I'm sorry, I don't remember the right name for them, but I keep calling them the Time Lords, right?
Yeah,
I think that if anything, it speaks more to your pressure points where you see this thing and then it upsets you.
No, it doesn't upset me.
Oh,
it does not upset me.
We've got a couple of episodes.
No. Let's just get this straight.
Listen to you.
This does not upset me. What upsets me is the balance. The balance is not right. I mean, Claire just pointed it out as well. The balance is not right between the characters in the show. And also, again, I keep saying this, Loki is a sap in his own TV show. I like Loki, but this is not Loki. That's all I'm saying. I'm not, if you disagree with me, it's fine, Pete. I don't mind.
Can I come in on this point here, that this idea that Loki's a sap, that he's like a soft character? Because I'm not getting that, Ian. I get that that's your take on it, but for me,
I don't mind that either.
For me, it's sort of, for me, it's more like, it's like Indiana Jones. He's constantly in all his films, he's constantly failing, constantly getting beaten up all the time, right?
That's different.
And picking him, is it?
It's different because a woman doesn't yell at Indiana Jones.
That's very different. Indiana Jones.
They do. I mean,
they punch him
in the second film.
No, but that's not the point. I mean, Indiana Jones completely different to what's happening now, right? I mean, Indiana Jones smacked a woman in the face in Temple of Doom. Do you remember that scene where he turns around, smacks the woman in the face, she falls to the ground? You'll never see that now. All I'm saying is that you can't have one and not have the other. Right, you can't have Loki naked in episode 1 and not have the same thing happen to a woman. That's called unbalance in the show. So this is the reason why. I mean, as I said, it's just me. As I said, I don't mind if you disagree, guys. That's fine with me. But I obviously telling you what I see and what I feel. And also, right, beyond all this, the show was dull. The episode was dull. I just thought it didn't. I was just so tired of everything. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's not pulling me in. It's not pulling me in as a viewer. So
his performance doesn't sort of lure you in.
No, because I didn't think the woman looked villainly. She looked. I think that's wrong casting. You would have cast someone that was kind of, I don't know.
Got more
I have
to
admit, I have to agree that the scene where they're talking and it comes out about being fluid, I did sort of think to myself, oh, yeah, it's LGBTQ month, isn't it? do you know what I mean? That did feel a little bit...
it was a bit odd, that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was, because, as I said, there's this agenda going through Hollywood now, and they're pushing that strongly. And I don't mind if they want to push that strongly, but, for me, it kind of makes the show a bit, I don't know. And I just think to myself, do you know what? There's no need for them to put that in there, and, in future stuff, it's going to get worse. So, that's the way it's going, I guess. I can't stop it. You know, I'm just being honest. Just being honest with everyone. That's all. You know, I don't mean to. I hope I haven't pissed anyone off. I haven't pissed you off, Pete.
God, no, not at all.
No.
That's the whole point of the debate, isn't it? Really. I mean, this is the beauty of TV, film, whatever. It's so subjective.
Yeah.
And we all take away with us what we take away with. I mean, you know, like I say, I really enjoyed it, but I was seduced by the production design. I mean, that was just intoxicating, and I was like, oh,
Prince.
You know, you
it's all purple, isn't it?
Pardon the pun, marveled in it. You know.
I like the production
but I do
design.
enjoy Tom Hiddleston's performance, and I do like you know his nuance as an actor, and I do think he is bringing it to the table, and he's holding. You know, I think he is holding the show. I do think he is doing that.
Well,
can I go back to the gender of partners comment that Loki made in the show? In defense of that comment, that's what I mean by they're having a flirty conversation, and his response is a flirty response.
There was no need for it, though.
Yeah,
that's me.
That's why
he sounded like a virgin.
It was a flirty conversation.
No, it wasn't. If it was a flirty conversation, they would no, Pete. They've put that in because that's what the tone of the stuff they're trying to push now. And if you guys can't see it, then fine, it's fine. I see it though all the time in TV shows. You know, so but I mean, if that's the way Hollywood's going, that's the way they're going. You know, I mean, Snow White's just been cast, and I'll tell you one thing: she ain't white. What do you say about that? Do you know what I mean? So that's what's happening in Hollywood now. You know. Have you seen the latest Supergirl as well? The costume and the way she looks. Do you ever seen that? So you know what I mean? You can deny it all you want, but it's happening in Hollywood. And you know, as I said, it's not for me. Stuff like this is not for me. I mean, you know, God bless everyone that's for this stuff. Good, you know, good luck to all of that. For me, it's not for me. It spoils the stuff that I watch because I don't want any of that stuff in my. I just want to be entertained. Please entertain me. That's all I want. You know. But anyway,
I think we need to embrace the multiverses here.
Yeah, I guess.
there's all different variants of these characters, right?
Well, as I said, you know, as I said, you know, a lot of people can't see it, and a lot of people don't want to see it. It's fine with me. But as I said, for me, I just don't want to be seeing this stuff anymore. And as I said, besides all that, this episode was dull as ditch water. I just didn't care about anything, what they were saying. I just didn't care. I tried to watch it a second time before I came on this thing. I just couldn't. I was like, let me watch some Avengers instead. Let's see what Loki was really like. So I watched a bit of that today, mostly today anyway. But anyway, I'll stop. Sorry.
No, fair enough. Well, let's hear from someone who did care. So Clive, because I need a bit of convincing that this was a good episode as well. So Clive, please help us.
I don't know that I'm going to better convince you, but look, see, one thing that was apparent to me, and one thing I missed was obviously we had there's no Owen Wilson in this, right?
Oh, and that was a huge void in the episode for me personally.
It was. But also, apart, you know, once we got out of that kind of really nice sort of setup bit where Sylvie is inside the time agent's head and was, you know, and they were setting up, oh, that's part of her power and that's how she controls people, you know, which is a nice scene. Then it's just the whole episode is just all on this Lamentis one moon that's, you know, breaking up with her and Loki, and there was no, you know, I thought that is both that's both the strength of the episode and the problem, right? Because you know there's no parallel action, there's no cutting away, so you're constantly having to come up with this series of mini missions of like, we have to get the thing to do the thing. We have to get in this place to be able to recharge the magical thing, which will allow us to get off the thing. Oh no, it's on a train now, so we have to go on the train and we have to get to the... So it's like a constant series of MacGuffins and mini missions, which is, to be fair, is pretty much like what a lot of blockbuster cinema is like. That's pretty much what most of like Pirates of the Caribbean 2 was like, we have to get the compass to find the thing. And So they keep it. So basically, they're spinning their plates. They're keeping stuff busy. Now the question is whether you found all of that stuff fun. That's really what it boils down to, because it didn't really add up to a lot, other than flirty dialogue, fizz, 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 or flat, 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 depending on your take, right? And between the two of them, well, we got to know Sylvie a bit more and what she was about, and they seem to be, and if there's a takeaway, maybe then it's that she's not the big bad, but I think maybe that there was intimations about that, right? Anyway, but this sort of final revelation that the TVA there's something rotten in the TVA, and that's going to be like the thing that needs taking down.
Is there something rotten in the state of Denmark? Huh?
Yeah,
like that.
Let's bring it right back round.
That's right.
Kenny
Yeah,
Branagh is going to show up at the end.
I mean, what we've got to remember is with all of these series is that we've got time to explore the characters, and maybe that these are what these TV shows are just giving us. It doesn't have to be wrapped up quickly in an hour and a half. We've got twice, 3 times the amount of time to just spend a little bit more time with the characters and get a little bit, deeper into their psyche, really. And it shouldn't all have to be rush.
No, but the thing is, though, they're episodes, right? And they're meant to entertain, and they're meant to have a pace. I mean, yes, not every episode is going to be good on a series. We know that, but at least the majority of episodes should be. I didn't find this fun at all. I didn't find was there gags in this one? I think so.
Getting shot was the gag.
Oh, that was the gag, which again,
right.
he fails to do anything. Yeah, okay. But that thing, as I said, it didn't make me laugh. It just made me sigh. And as I said, I didn't care about the characters at all. I really didn't care about anyone. And as I said, this girl was so threatening that she sat down and planned with him and stuff like that. So she wasn't that threatening. Who said that? Somebody said that. Like, she wasn't that threatening, and I don't know what's going to go on. I don't know what's going to happen. But as Pete says, this cliffhanger was just a waste of our time, because we know they're not going to die. We know they're not going to die.
Okay, so they're codependent though. In the episode, they both need each other, so they've got to try and make the best of the situation that they're in.
Yeah. So
I mean, I'm hoping we're going to see the the timekeepers at some point here, and something's going to happen rather than it just be a series that didn't matter. Like, one division at the end, she's miserable and mourning the loss of Vision, which was exactly how she was at the end of Endgame, and Captain Falcon and the Winter Soldier. At the end of that, Sam Wilson is Captain America, which is exactly where he was at the end of the film. So so hopefully.
But sorry, Keith, I agree. Well, I agree with you on Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I disagree with you on WandaVision, because we've got an alive version of Vision at the end of it, which is radically different to what we had at the beginning, right?
True.
And also, she's left with this magic tome, which I think is probably like a big kind of thing, which is going to lead into the Doctor Strange movie. So,
Wanda comes out of WandaVision innumerably more powerful than she went into it. Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with Clive. Actually, I'm also going to say that I think that Falcon and the Winter Soldier is incredibly deft in how they change Sam Wilson over the course of the series, because they do take him on a journey, but that journey, like, you don't need it to continue the story, but it is, I think, an interesting dive down. If you want more, you can pull up this series and watch it. But if you missed it, you're not going to be left out of the movies. So it was that was kind of interesting.
But do you think this show will do the same thing?
Well, this show, I think, like, that's why I'm a little disappointed, is I don't think this show has to.
Right.
Loki is dead in the main movie storyline, right? So they don't have to take Loki anywhere. They can do whatever they want with Loki.
Right.
And so that's why, like, I'm really hoping that they do something amazing with him. And that's why I was disappointed in this episode, because I felt like the fun stuff that we got out of this episode, we could have done in the last episode and skipped this episode entirely. And you know, so
well, I suppose
I
we've
wanted
been
more.
left on a cliffhanger, haven't we? So I mean, they're still there. So I suppose we'll see the payoff, hopefully, in the next episode.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if we were doing predictions,
should we go to predictions? Because I've got thoughts as well.
Oh, great! Let's we're going to kick it old school. We're going to throw predictions in.
Yeah.
This is just before we get onto that, which kind of does feed quite into it. Actually, is on the slide there. So there's a lot of talk that these Marvel shows are essentially setting up the young Avengers, because a lot of the characters that we're seeing in these shows are going to end up forming this team from the comics, which I'll be honest, I am not familiar with at all. But apparently this guy here was one of the kids from WandaVision.
One of her children.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then there was the guy, the kid who was hanging out with the Captain America that was experimented on, the one played by Carl Lumley. He's going to grow into one of the villain. One of the young Avengers as well. And there was someone from this show that I can't remember who it was supposed to be now. So I'm not really supporting my point very well here. I've actually forgotten who it was, but there was someone else that they were kind of teeing up. And then, of course, the Hawkeye series is going to be queuing his daughter up to be. So, but I don't know. The reason I brought that up, I just wondered whether any of you were aware in any way of the Young Avengers, because that was a little sort of after my time as far as comic book reading went. So I'm not so familiar with that stuff. But
in fact, is it January? What's his name? The guy who played Hawkeye. What's his name?
Jeremy.
The guy who played Hawkeye.
Jeremy Renner.
He's the only one that hasn't been part of the TV episodes, isn't it? Him and we know Chris Evans won't because he's too big and.
There's a Hawkeye TV series we're getting very shortly.
Yes,
okay.
And that's
with him training up Kate Bishop.
Okay.
Daughter, who's going to then become one of these young Avengers.
I don't think she's his daughter, but yeah.
Is she not his daughter?
Maybe they changed it.
No, she was his daughter.
Yeah,
maybe she is. I don't know.
She's the one that he's teaching how to shoot
at the beginning of Endgame. Yeah.
I don't know that she's is she the same one that's going to be in the series though?
Probably not.
Actress or character?
Actress.
Two different actors.
I don't know. We will find out though, won't we?
Yeah.
No, this is. I only brought it up because we were kind of leading into speculation. So I was like, oh, on that note, did any of you guys know about this stuff? But I thought you're all in the same boat as me. You've got.
I thought the new Avengers would be Falcon, the Winter Soldier. Maybe Miss Marvel, not Miss Marvel, I'm talking about Captain Marvel, or do you know what I mean? The existing ones that still exist. I thought they might be Avengers too. I'm quite surprised they're going for a totally new cast. Maybe they're too expensive to hire, Anthony Mackie and, and the guy who plays the Hulk and stuff like that. Maybe they're looking for a, half price version.
The idea is that they'd be a parallel team though, Ian. Like the equivalent of like a Teen Titans to the Justice League.
I see. Okay.
You see what I mean? So you'd have the Avengers and then you'd have Young Avengers.
All right. Okay. So. Is the Young Avengers going to be a TV show then?
I think so, but they've not. It's not not been officially announced. There's just lots of speculation.
Oh.
And on speculation, so Clive, you had some that you wanted to kick off with, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I guess the first thought I had maybe because I had this 2 vibe about it, and when Stephen Moffat was the showrunner, he had this real thing when he had 2-part episodes where it was like where you'd leave it on a cliffhanger, and then rather than the next episode immediately starting from that moment of like, oh my god, what's going to happen to our heroes, as they're about to be blasted by Cybermen or whatever it was, it would immediately cut to something completely different. So my first prediction is they're going to do that. They're probably going to flash back, and we're going to get like a large chunk with Mobius and the TVA, and we'll find out what they've been up to. Like the equivalent of like in WandaVision, when we suddenly went out of out of the town, and we saw what was happening with Sword. So I think it's probably going to end up being that sort of episode, at least initially, and then. And then it will meet up again with Loki and Sylvie, maybe towards the end.
I agree. This seems to be the flavor of TV shows now. They leave you on a cliffhanger, and then they don't give you what you want. They don't give you an answer, and then they go backwards. Like Steve Moffat done that loads of time. He did it with Sherlock. When Sherlock was on the roof, he to this day he's never explained how he survived, but hey, who cares? But that's what they're doing now, and I wouldn't be surprised, I wouldn't be surprised if Morbius turned up, they found out where they were, and then they just slapped them away, after this episode that you mentioned, Clive, but they're going to go backwards. So who knows, I don't know.
Well, I mean, the last thing with the TVA and Mobius was all this, kicking off where, Lady Loki or whoever she is has sent the variant bombs. What were they called? Time bombs or whatever. Time bombs everywhere. So they definitely got to clear up that mess at some point.
The ring. The ring that that Tony Stark created for the time travel in the last film.
Mobius strip.
There you go.
Strip. Yeah.
Is that named after him?
Yeah, I think it's connected to,
all right,
the Mobius strip, isn't it? It's the where it flips over and there's a continual ring. Cool. Any other predictions or thoughts as to where it might be going?
Well, I was just looking up, and what Pete was saying about like there's no kind of real risk because the lead protagonist isn't going to croak it.
He ain't going to die.
He ain't going to die. And according to the internet, so it must be true.
Oh, yeah.
That there is a second series of Loki commissioned.
So he ain't going to die then. He's not going to die.
Yeah, but maybe another Loki.
Exactly. It could be a completely different variant.
Into a Jamiroquai song. Too young to die. Sorry. Where is it?
I don't know. I said,
Lady
maybe next episode will be better. Who knows? But I mean, it didn't happen with Winter Soldier and the Falcon and Winter Soldier, did it? It just got worse and worse and worse. In the last episode, with that cringe speech he makes, you're just like, oh, geez, why? So I'm hoping.
The problem.
Ian, are you even going to watch it any further?
I don't know. I'm still deciding.
What's still deciding. To watch, like, the next series of Loki, the next episode of Loki.
I don't know. I think
we'd miss you. You had so much colour.
Well, I mean, I'll watch it, I guess. But as I said, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. Even from episode 1, I knew this was not going to be good at all. There's some nice bits in episode 1 and episode 2, but this one was just a complete dud, in my opinion. But
okay,
that's just me, right?
I suppose are we looking for something new?
No, I'm just looking for something that I could enjoy. That I can think, wow, that's amazing, or wow, that's cool, or something like that. But there was nothing in this one.
Not even the production design and the lighting.
No, the production design was good. I agree. Yeah, I agree. Totally agree with you. Looks great.
Totally immersed. Yeah. It
does, my only prediction for the next episode is that Ian isn't going to like it.
You never know. Loki might come out and deck a woman. And then
You never
Ian's gonna
know.
love it.
You never know. You never know.
Pete, have you got any predictions or any strong wishes for next episode?
My feeling was kind of the exact opposite of what Clive was saying. But to be honest, now that I've heard Clive's opinion, I think he might be more right than I am.
I think he's right.
But my initial prediction after watching this episode is that in the first 5 minutes of the next episode, a time cop is going to show up and they're going to jump through the time cop's door. And then, ta-da, magic, they're not going to die. And it's not going to have meant anything. And then they're just going to go back to, I think they're going to go back. The next episode's episode 5. I think they're just going to keep doing. They're going to try and spin
the next episode.
Yeah,
next episode 4.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
4. You're wishful thinking on your part, Pete.
Well,
episode 4 and episode 5, they're just going to continue to spin their wheels, and then in episode 6, they're going to go meet the time lizards, and we got to wait for that. But it's like frustrating that in this episode they were at the door to the time lizards, and instead we went and did this. I would have been happier seeing time lizards this episode.
right?
I mean, because I love the idea of they're going to root out corruption in Time Cop land, and
that's what I think is going to happen.
Right, but I think they could have done it a little bit quicker and
I agree
with more pizzazz.
Absolutely. I mean, what's interesting there, Pete, is one of your fears last time when we were speaking was you said whereas Falcon and the Winter Soldier had a lot of padding before it stuck the landing. In this case, you didn't think we were going to have enough real estate. And what's interesting is this episode was kind of padding, right?
Yeah, and so that's maybe something that speaks to my critique of Picard. To loop it all back together, is that Picard, they should not have done so much padding in episodes 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah,
when they got to the end,
so we could have had a decent ending. Yeah,
at the end they were like, "Okay, we gotta go," right? And so that's
so
it feels like they're doing the same thing here. Like they wasted an episode today, and so does that mean that they're gonna, Yeah, I think that's exactly what I'm saying. Is that instead of having something where you get like conversation and investigation into the time lizards and you really dig into it, episode 6 is going to be like, oh, time lizards are bad, and we fixed it.
It's just just badly written, this one, and also Picard. Oh my god, the script was so awful. I just had to. Seriously, it's terrible.
Except if you listen to our podcast, episodes 1, 2, and 3 were good, and then 4, 5, and 6 were not so good, and then 7 and 8 were rushed. But that's beside.
I changed the rush to rubbish. That's what I would say. Total and utter rubbish. The last few were just rubbish.
Well, folks, if you're watching or listening to this, then please go and check those out. I think what is interesting here is, with this episode, Clive and Claire were sort of charmed by it and enjoyed this particular episode.
Enchanted.
Where myself, Ian, and Pete were not so happy. Be interested to know what you guys think.
Wait a sec, I haven't given you my prediction yet.
Oh well,
we did.
I'm just doing it. This is called Ian.
This is
called a segue, which you have to do when you're on YouTube to make sure people subscribe and all of that. And there's still more to come. Don't worry, including Loki. But I'm just saying, if there is anyone out there, please do comment down below, because we'd like to know what you think also. And then we can read that out on next week's episode when we have it back. So, Ian, over to you.
I've got nothing to say now. No, I was just saying, I agree with Pete. I think what's going to happen is I agree. I think what's going to happen in the last 2 episodes is that those two are going to convince the time cops that they're all variant. Is it variants? They're all variants, and they're being conned. I think that's what's going to happen, and maybe that will cause a war, and maybe it'll end in a cliffhanger. So we have to watch season 2 or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Because I think the first person that's going to be convinced, even though he's going to stick to his guns, is Owen Wilson's character. Once those two start talking to him, but you know, I'm probably wrong.
Do you think Prime Owen Wilson is going to have a nose job?
maybe. Who knows? Who knows?
No.
Clive gets that one.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Well,
there you go.
Uh-oh.
You know,
That pun was so bad it booted Claire.
No,
we've lost Claire. Is she back?
She's back, I think. No, she's frozen. Looks like she's frozen. Nope.
Claire. Oh dear.
The ice.
She's got green Loki behind her.
Oh man. Sorry.
Sorry, she's sorry.
It's just our internet. Forgive me.
Oh.
Yeah.
She gone.
Claire, have you got any predictions apart from the fact your internet's not going to be very good? No, she's gone.
Oh, she's gone. She'll be back. She'll be back.
She's gone. Oh dear. Oh well. Anyway, yeah. Hopefully she'll join us again in a second. There you go. Okay. But yeah. Well, you know, we'll have to see. I guess what where next week comes. Hold on a second. Claire, you're back.
She's back.
Hello. I'm back.
Yeah.
She's frozen again.
Episode 4. Have I frozen it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so
Claire.
sorry. Frozen again, have I?
That's all right. We're just going to find out your predictions.
Oh man. Hang on, buoyant.
Your prediction is that the internet is not going to be fast enough, right?
Yeah.
Maybe if you stop the camera for a second and we can just hear you for a bit.
Severely eased off with show. Close it and come back in.
No. Clive. Oh, Clive was a good idea. Right. Clive, you should just turn the camera off, isn't it? Just turn the camera off and just hear her voice.
No worries. Yeah. And any other from you guys? Any other things that you want to say about this episode, good or bad? No, then.
I think we hit all the main points, haven't we? I mean, it's kind of because we didn't get a lot of setup other than the whole thing about the TV, the true thing behind the TVA. So the question is, when's Owen Wilson going to find that out? Is he going to find it out from Loki, or are we going to get like a sort of parallel adventure with Owen Wilson where he finds that something's wrong, if you see what I mean? And we've already had a little bit of a hint that the judge character that he's got that flirty relationship with, that there's something, not that she's hiding something. So, you know, I if you want another prediction, then I'm going to say that we're going to get a big cameo next week.
Oh, wow. Okay. From
a guest, we're going to get another guest star. That's what I'm saying. I think we will get Kang the Conqueror before the end of the series.
Okay. Yeah, which is already set up, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Claire, can you hear us? No, we've still got a frozen Claire. Loki has frozen her in time.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Turn off the camera.
Try turning the camera off, Claire.
Turn the camera off and just hear your voice. That might work.
Claire? Oh, she's gone. No, that's never mind. Technical issues. Sorry, folks. If you're watching or listening to this, we are having a few technical issues, which happens with this live stuff. Is Claire back in voice only?
Am I
not even in voice? Oh,
Well, yeah.
Oh God, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
No, we can hear you, Claire.
Yeah,
We can hear you, Claire.
you can
So
hear
why
me.
don't you give us your predictions?
Oh, that's it then. My predictions are that Ian's going to be severely disillusioned by the whole and the Marvel universe. Pete's not going to be much better. Clive will add the voice of reason to everything. I'll add the fluff because I really don't know anything about the Marvel universe. And Keith, you'll try and rein it all in.
Yeah.
Well,
Sounds good to
Pretty
me.
much every show.
Oh,
Yeah, pretty
Even
sorry,
money
you want
on
me to
that
predict
bet.
the show. Honestly, I just,
Of course.
just don't know. I honestly don't know. I've
Mm.
got nothing of value to offer in predictions, I'm afraid.
Well, hopefully
Sorry.
Mark will have.
It's open. It's open. They've been disappointing so far in the TV show land, in my
Oh, dear.
opinion. But there you go.
Okay. Well, just to end it
Well, I
on
did
something a
like
bit.
optimistic.
Go on, Claire.
Yeah, no, I thought. Oh God, forgot it. Paul Bettany. What was that one? One Division. I really enjoyed that. The last episode went on a bit much with the Pickety witches fighting and stuff. They could have reduced that a little bit, but all things considered, that was original and unique, and I enjoyed that.
Fair enough. Well, I thought to end the episode,
then.
because we did this a couple of weeks back and it was quite interesting. Have any of you seen any other shows or movies that you want to just quickly give a shout out to on the channel? While you're thinking about it, I'll kick off. I saw a film called Nobody, starring Bob Odenkirk. Yeah, it was not what I expected at all.
No,
I have to say that, but it was kind of cool that we had someone that wasn't a 30-year-old Adonis as an action hero in something. So,
although he did look buff though, didn't he? It's obvious that he worked out. He looked like he can take someone out. He really,
it was inspired by a real event.
Yes, something happened to him.
Yeah. So yeah, that's showing it, and it was lovely to go back. I went to the Everyman Cinema in Muswell Hill, which the service there was fantastic, and it was just so nice to go into this kind of retro feel cinema and auditorium and be entertained on the big screen. So that's mine for what it's worth. Anybody else?
Cute.
I've been lucky enough to do some interviews this week for a film called Fatima, which is about I don't know if you've ever heard of the Miracle of the Sun. It's kind of it's a story of how these children saw the vision of the Virgin Mary and the opposition that they faced. And I was speaking to the filmmakers this week about that, and it's really good, and it's got a really good cast in it as well. And also, do you remember D'Artagnan and the Three Musket Hounds?
Oh yeah, they've made a film, haven't they? Yeah, cool.
They've made a film. And so and it's the same sort of filmmakers that made the cartoon. So the same creator and the storyboard artist is now the director of this film. So they're staying kind of very authentic, and had a very interesting conversation with them about how they hand animated the kind of the finer details of the animations and stuff. So, and those interviews can be found on Premier Scene, shamelessly plugging there, but they're out in cinemas this week. So they're good films to go and see.
Cool. Okay. Anybody else? Pete, have you seen anything?
I have not seen anything I've particularly enjoyed. I don't want to poke a badger here, but I did watch Sweet Tooth on Ian's recommendation, and
you did like it.
Look, here's what I got to say. I don't know why they call that a season, because it just ends in the middle of the story.
Yeah.
And so, you know what? Yeah, wait for the second half.
We'll see.
Yeah, it really annoyed me. But I watched Lupin.
Yeah, I want to watch that. Is it any good? Have you seen the episodes?
I watched the whole because that was another one where they released season 1, but it was only half the story.
Yeah.
Now they've released the other half of season 2, and it's the rest of the story.
Yeah.
All 12 episodes together is one season, I think.
Yeah.
And actually, I really liked it. I thought it was fun.
I need to watch that. A lot of people say it's really good.
I will say that's one where you can watch it dubbed. Like I think the basis is dubbed, but it's weird for me to watch it where their mouths are moving, but they're not saying what they're hearing. So I just flipped on the subtitles and watched it like that. But I like Lupin.
Is it French, that show?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The main actor in that, I think, is really amazing. And I've been reading. Did I plug the Old Guard comic books last time I did this? I think I did, right?
You did, I believe, yes.
Yeah. New one hasn't come out yet, but I've been reading N.K. Jemison's books in the Dream Blood duology, Killing Moon and Shadowed Sun, I think. Anyway, check those out. It's a really rich world of magic and dreams, and I loved it. Yeah.
I've got to ask, what did you think of the film adaptation of the
I didn't see it.
Oh, you didn't see it? Okay.
Oh, wait. The film of Old Guard.
Yes.
Yes. Did
Yes,
see
on
it.
Netflix.
Saw it. I thought it was, totally adequate.
Yeah.
Right? Like, told a good story. It didn't wow me to death. I have watched it a couple of times because, I always like watching things, right? And so I put stuff on while I'm cooking or cleaning or whatever. And I've put that on a couple more times, right? I've sat through it a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's another one where they set up this big sort of main conflict that then they never really address. And so I'd love to see that go more, Supposedly there's another Old Guard immortal sitting at the bottom of an ocean somewhere.
Yeah,
going
she
insane.
turns up at the ending, doesn't she?
Does she? I don't remember her turning up at the end.
Yeah, at the ending. Maybe
Is it like a post-credits?
maybe it's post credits. Yeah.
Oh crap!
Yeah.
I gotta go back.
You gotta. But the thing is, with Netflix, right? When they roll in the credits, they don't show all the credits, don't they? And they show what's next, and then it cuts off, and then it goes to another show. You're like, well, I want to see the credits. It's really that's the one bad thing about Netflix. They always do that, unless you speed it up so you can get towards the ending to see what's happened at the ending. Because I remember they did that with Stranger Things, the last season of Stranger Things, and at the ending they had that clip of the guy, he was in Russia, but I didn't know until somebody told me, and then I had to literally go towards the ending, speed past the credits. And then I saw it because, as I said, Netflix has this way of when the credits are going up, they literally take it off and recommend another show.
They want you to not stop streaming, basically.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
What about you, Ian? Anything that you want to recommend or that Pete cannot enjoy?
No, as I said, I like Sweet Tooth. As I said, it stops halfway through. But I read the comic a long time ago, and it's very different from the comic. It's very, very kidified. This version of the comic. I mean, but I recommend it. I think it's a lot of fun. It's not, as I said, it's
heart-wrenching, dude.
Yeah, it is.
I would not use the words fun.
Well, there are some fun bits in it. There are some fun bits in it. Yeah, but it is heart-wrenching as well. Yeah.
Pete, what's heart-wrenching to you is fun to Ian.
No, he's right. But there are some really fun moments in there. Do you know what I mean?
I'm stirring the pot here. Sorry, there are
a lot of stuff because you just warm to Sweet Tooth immediately, don't you? And that's the thing with him. He's so innocent. That's the thing, and you've got all these adults around him and stuff like that. So that's why I kind of liked the show. I liked it a lot, actually. But I kept feeling, I don't know about you, Pete, I kept feeling I shouldn't be watching this because it's a kid's thing. Did you feel that? No.
Right. But I have kids, so it's a strong parenthood thing. I don't know if you have kids. Sorry, it is a story about parenthood and the difficulties of parenthood, the failures of parenthood, and the way that parenthood just happens sometimes, right? You get thrust into a parenthood role for somebody who might not be your kid. And that's, so I really, it was hitting me on all my emotional cylinders. And then when it ended halfway through, I was very angry. And I did just speed through the last part of Old Guard on Netflix while we were talking.
All right, okay.
It is not pre-credits, and I guess I just forgot.
So you must have left before.
I just forgot. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, okay.
So anything else you want to recommend, Ian, before I get to Clive?
No, not really. I can't think of anything that I've been watching on Netflix, but no.
Fair enough. What about you, Clive? I'm sure you've been watching something or been to see something.
I have. I went to the cinema and I saw In the Earth, the new horror movie from Ben Wheatley, director of Free Fire, Kill List, and talking Tom Hiddleston again, High Rise. Yeah. So I thought this was because some of his films I love, some I'm less hot on, but I thought this was really good. It's kind of it's kind of folk horror, I guess, broadly, but it sort of experiments in certain ways, goes a bit trippy. It reminded me a little bit of the Nigel Neal TV movie from the sort of from the 70s, the Stone Tape.
Stone Tapes, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's got a bit of that in there, but there's lots of stuff that's kind of stirred in, and it's got these kind of says a lot of interesting things about humanity's connection with the environment, and it's also a bit of a kind of COVID horror in that it was filmed during the pandemic, and you've got lots of characters being sprayed down, being tested, socially distancing from each other. They build it into the thing, and it sort of adds to it. So, rather than why these characters miles apart from each other, you understand, because they literally hang a lantern on it, right? So I enjoyed that. I thought they do some really nice visual things with it as well, and it's good. It's not mainstream horror. It's not it's not The Conjuring. It's not kind of quite bang. It's not that sort of stuff. It's much more creepy. I can't say I was really scared by it, but I was engrossed, and I did it, and I found it interesting and compelling.
All right, I'll have to check that out.
I think he said he wanted it to be like the old 70s creepy shows that was on TV. I mean, I think he spoke about Sapphire and Steel at one point, that he was influenced by, it wasn't about the special effects, it was about the actual tone of something to be creepy and stuff like that. I think he said that in one interview, I think. So that's what he was aiming for, I think.
Okay.
I'd say he got that. But plus, there are some nice, prosthetics from Dan Martin with lots of some nice gory bits.
Right.
Across gore hands. So.
All right. Well, that's cool. I'll have to check that out. Ben Wheatley. Some of his stuff I like, some not so much. So it'll be interesting to see where I sit on that one. But check it out. It's at a cinema. It's at the cinemas at the moment, right? So,
was there a lot of people in the cinema when you guys went to the cinema?
No, not when I went.
What about you, Clive?
I kind of liked it.
It was about. Well, I mean, it's difficult to know what capacity is now because they don't let all the seats be occupied.
Sure.
But I'd say it was about 2/3 full of people that it could be full of. So, but then we went in the evening. So,
okay.
All right. Well, Claire, where can people find your work or get in touch if they want to?
They can go to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and find Ghostbusters Doc. It's the definitive documentary of the making of the original Ghostbusters film with Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, Bill Murray,
Sigourney Weaver.
And also you can find me at www.premierscene.net, where I interview filmmakers, up and coming and seasoned filmmakers, actors, about their new films that are coming out. So that's premierscene.net, and I absolutely love that.
Cool. And there will be links in the show notes to this stuff, folks. Pete, what about you?
Hey, I host this great podcast with this totally dashing Englishman named Keith Isles called Let's See What's Out There. You might be listening to it right now on the podcast feeds. Please like, subscribe, give us a review, and tell all your friends, and check out our fantastic Star Trek coverage. And reach out to us. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, LSWOTcast, or send us an email, lswotcast@gmail.com. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pete. Mega Geek, where can people find more of your work?
Well, everybody knows that I have a web series called Rebecca Gold. Type Rebecca Gold in YouTube, and you'll find it. But also, I forgot to mention last week as well, I'm on the Spacebook channel, which is, they do a live stream every Tuesday, and it's about Doctor
Dan
Who.
Hadley.
Yeah, Dan Hadley. And it's about, you know, it's about Doctor Who, everything to do with Doctor Who, classic Doctor Who we talk about new Who and stuff like that. So I'm on there every Tuesday, 4:00 on YouTube. So I'm on that too. And if you want to see any of my films, just drop me a line on Twitter, Ian David Diaz, at Ian David Diaz. So there you go.
Cool. Yeah, and definitely check out some of Dan Hadley's work at the Spacebook. He does a number of things apart from just Doctor Who.
Yeah.
He's got things on Blake 7 and lots of other genre type film and television, and I've often guested on there myself.
Yes,
so
you have.
hello to Dan Hadley. We Birmingham's King of the Geeks.
The geeks. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. What about you, Clive? Where can people find your work?
People go onto Vimeo and put in my name. I've got a collection of my most recent short films on there. They can check me out there.
Cool. Okay, well, thank you to my guests for joining the cast today, and thank you for watching this. As I said, if you've got any comments or questions, please put it in the section down below and respond to that. And please check out more of the work on this channel. If you're into physical media, DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, etc., there are unboxings, reviews, as well as other streams about different shows and movies. So please check out the work there. If you want to see some of my short films, go to another YouTube channel called British Isles. That's EYLES, as in my last name, and check out the work there. But yeah, please consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your time, and we will see you on the next Let's See What's Out There, Loki. Bye for now.
Bye.